All right, lesson 6.4 is on converting between units in the U.S. customary system. So that would be all the kinds of units that we use in America, like inches and feet and cups and quarts and pints and ounces and pounds, so those types of things. My learning target: use multiplication and division to solve unit ratio problems that convert units in the customary system. Here's a chart. This chart gives you all of the little hints that you need to convert. It's found on page 298 in your textbook. Make sure to take a note of that and maybe put a post-it note right in that page so that you can always find those conversion tables. All right, so we're going to use that chart to come up with a ratio box to show what we have. So it says how many tons are in 15,000 pounds. So I look at my chart until I find tons and pounds next to each other. And you notice I highlighted it there with 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. So I'm going to write my ratio there, 1 ton, and we can write a ton with a big T, and 2,000 pounds. Okay? Then I'm going to match what I see up here, and there's going to be one thing missing. So I'm going to crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy once I figure that out. I need to figure out, where does my pounds go? Should I put that on the top or should I put that on the bottom? And we always want to match. So whatever I put in here on this side, I'm going to match this side. So the top is going to be my tons and the bottom is going to be my pounds. Okay, and so I'm going to put it on the bottom to match 15,000 pounds. Okay, so I'm going to crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy, and I get 7.5 tons. Let's try another one. How many quarts are in 2.2 gallons? So I'm looking for quarts and gallons next to each other. And notice on the very bottom of my table, I have 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. So I'm going to write that, 1 gallon. And I don't have to write the full abbreviation. I just need to know what's on top and what's on bottom. So I do strongly suggest putting something in there so that I know that my gallons are on the top and my quarts are on the bottom. So when I go to put my 2.2 gallons in, I know that's going to go on the top this time because my gallons are on the top, 2.2 gallons, so that my gallons and my gallons, they match. So I'm going to multiply, crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy, and I get 2.2 times 4 divided by 1, so it's 8.8 quarts. And that's my answer. Here's another one. This one's just very straightforward. How many cups, I should say, are in 3.5 pints. So I find pints and cups together, and I see that they're here. 1 pint equals 2 cups. I know my pints, it's 3.5, but I don't know my cups, so I'm going to leave that blank. I'm going to crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy, so I'm going to be multiplying these two that both have numbers, divide by the one that doesn't have a diagonal pair or diagonal match, and I get 7. 7 what? 7 cups, and that makes sense because I'm looking for cups. Okay, let's do another one. How many days in 7.5 weeks? This was not given to us on our chart, but we know that there are 7 days in 1 week, right? So if we have 7.5 weeks, we're going to put that down here by the weeks. And we're going to crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy. So I'm going to take 7 times 7.5, and I get 52.5 weeks. Oh, sorry, days. Oops. Days and days, they should match. Okay. Here's 2 more to show. How many inches are in 3.5 feet? So I find inches and feet. That's my top value here. 1 foot in 12 inches. 3.5 feet is going to go on the top because we want feet and feet to match. Crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy. So I'm taking 3.5 times 12, and I get 42 inches. Always make sure that it makes sense. How many inches are in 3.5 feet? 42 inches. That makes sense. Let's do our next one. How many ounces in 10.5 pounds? So there's my pounds and my ounces. 1 pound and 16 ounces. Okay, so I've got 10.5 pounds. That's going to go on the top because I have pounds on the top. Crisscross multiply. Divide by the lonely guy. So I'm going to take 10.5 times 16. And I get 168. And that's ounces. Now before trying to do this in a different way, I strongly suggest that you set these up with ratio boxes, because there are times that you may not know which unit is bigger or smaller, and that would be a time where you might not know, should I multiply or should I divide? Because I know that some of you are going to be tempted to say, okay, I have to put feet into inches, I'm just going to multiply times 12. And that works. However, I want you using those ratio boxes because they work every single time and you don't have to think twice about, do I multiply this time or do I divide? So here are some for you to try. Pause the video and try these 3. Okay, so you should have used your chart on page 298 to find that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. And if I have 185 yards, I'm going to put that on the bottom. Crisscross multiply. Divide by the lonely guy. And I get 555 feet. If you put your feet on the bottom and your yards on the top, you should have still gotten the exact same answer as me. It just your ratio box maybe looked different. It takes light from the sun 331.8 minutes to reach the earth. How many hours does it take light to reach the earth? So we've got minutes and we've got hours. How many minutes are in an hour? 60. Hopefully you know that, because that's not on your chart. In 1 hour. Okay, so I've got minutes on the top, so I'm going to keep my minutes on the top. Crisscross multiply. Divide by the lonely guy. So I'm taking 331.8 times 1, which gives me the same thing, divided by 60. And I get 5.53 hours. And the last one, Mr. Fritz walked 5.4 miles. How many feet did he walk? So I'm looking for feet and miles. There are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. If I have 5.4 miles, I'm going to put that on the bottom. Crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy. So I'm taking 5.4 times 5,280. And I get 28,512 feet. All right, best of luck on your NICU check.